United States have taken custody of an Iranian ship.
Tonight, President Trump announcing the U.S. seized and boarded an Iranian cargo ship today. Posting on social media, the 900-foot Tuska tried to evade the U.S. blockade. The president said the USS Spruance warned the tanker, then blew a hole in the engine room. Writing, "We have full custody of the ship and are seeing what's on board. No confirmation from Iranian officials." But this comes just days before the current ceasefire agreement expires. And tonight, the White House tells NBC News U.S. negotiators are headed back to Pakistan tomorrow. The team will include Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, and Vice President J.D. Vance, according to two senior administration officials, despite President Trump telling other news outlets earlier that the VP was not traveling. But at this hour, it appears Iran hasn't agreed to show up. State News reporting tonight that any confirmation of a second round of negotiations in Islamabad is not true. On Sunday, the Strait of Hormuz remained largely closed after Iran imposed its own restrictions.
So if Iran not showing up, who are they going to negotiate with? I'm just wondering, because it's just crazy to me how this whole thing works. And it's like, I never understood how much of a bully America is, you know what I'm saying? Because we bullies like a motherfucker, but let's go.
On the vital waterway, allegedly opening fire on two Indian flagships yesterday. In response to that, President Trump called Iran's actions a total violation of our ceasefire agreement. Meanwhile, a separate tenuous ceasefire agreement between Israel and Lebanon is holding. NBC's Yasmin Vesuvian is in Beirut.
Here in Lebanon, it is day 3 of the ceasefire, which is holding for now. Many exhausted by this war, hoping for the best, but expecting the worst.
But ahead of the...
And honestly, I think that this is going to be another world war, because it's the little things that get other countries involved in this whole thing, like the thing with India. India ain't got nothing to do with Iran, and the USA and Israel. Y'all done shot these people's ships up, and it's like that. Pick a side. It's just like with the China thing. When China tried to go against the blockade, it's little stuff like that that roar. And I understood how those type of things get started, but stuff like this is the reason. So let's see.
Possible negotiations between the U.S. and Iran, President Trump once again threatened to wipe out civilian infrastructure if the two sides didn't strike a deal. U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Mike Waltz, backed up the president on Meet the Press.
We have a long history of taking down bridges, power plants, and other infrastructure that is powering Iran's military, and they have a long history of conflating civilian and military assets.
Molly is joining us now from...
And that's the only thing that's kind of sad about this, because regular people uses those bridges and stuff to go to work, you know, but the power is powering the army and the stuff that's trying to go against the United States and Israel and what we trying to basically bully them out of, which is crazy. I honestly think that Trump them is gonna hit the power plants, and I don't know if it's a war of crime. We gonna see, man. I think he gonna take it there, because what the hell do I look like agreeing with you if you already done killed my daddy, you killed my wife, you injured I think man son got killed too. It's just a mess, man. It's like, you expect to just kiss the ring? Like, it's crazy, man. They lay country how we love our country. But let's go.
Tel Aviv. And Molly, on that intercepted Iranian ship, it had been sanctioned by the U.S., right?
Yeah, Hallie, that's correct. President Trump says it's because of previous illegal activity. But Hallie, these were the first U.S. shots fired of any kind since the ceasefire started.
Whatever you want to call me. I wasn't going to make this video today. I did not want to make this video today. But somebody sent an article I felt I needed to read, and then I went back and established fact with 4 other sources of this. And so I feel like, because I kind of warn everybody so that you're forearmed on what to do, I'm going to give you a little piece of news from this weekend. Take it for what you will. I'm just going to give you my take on it. Right now, there's ongoing ceasefire talks in Islamabad. Trump said on sending his representatives over there. I don't know. I haven't looked into who that is, but I saw on Al Jazeera English this morning that that is ongoing. There's actually English-speaking reporters over there, and some of the U.S. representatives and some of the Iranian representatives of there. Now, the story that was sent to me happened on Saturday night in the White House. I have confirmed this story through the Judging Freedom podcast, ex-CIA analyst Larry Johnson, Max Dashu, and others, that this is a confirmed story. On Saturday night, U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff Air Force General Dan Kane stormed out of an emergency meeting with Trump. Insiders indicate that Trump wanted to evoke the nuclear codes as a deterrence against Iran during the ceasefire talks in Islamabad, but General Kane refused and invoked the U.S. Uniform Code of Military Justice, the UCMJ, claiming specifically Article 92 covering failure to obey. And inside the military, we call that the duty to refuse clause. That if given an unlawful order, we have a duty to refuse. An unlawful order would be striking civilian infrastructure, doing something illegal. Article UCMJ is the military's main defense against political appointees, military to and launching nuclear weapons into Iran as a deterrent to take control of to bully and power their keeps the military from having to follow those orders. Apparently, the Joint Chiefs of Staff went ahead and invoked Article Duty to Refuse clause because Donald Trump wanted to send nuclear weapons in or nuclear bombs into Iran. I have confirmed it. 4 different sources. There's pictures of Kane coming out of that meeting with his head down, shaking his head. We are on the precipice. I have been saying for 7 or 8 weeks now, all of the military equipment and hardware and, assets.
Trump is like got all this money and just want to use it. I'm telling you, I think he gonna drop a nuke on these people. I'm not hoping for it because the things that I looked up that a nuke can do to a country and how it causes cancer within 100 to 200 miles if it don't kill you, like, it's terrible. But this guy, he got something to prove, and I think he gonna do it. I called the war and everything. You guys, my man Jason, I was just telling him, like, man, I think it's gonna be war because Trump have so much to prove, and he may be right, but this man ain't got no limit, man. He really ain't got no limit. But let's go.
In that area, plus the mindset of both administrations, to me, as an analyst, concludes in one reality. And it looks like Trump is trying to get ahead of the game, as he's always done. Listen, I'm going to follow this more.
I bet.
I didn't want to give, because everybody's saying I'm doing nothing but fear-mongering. But we live in very, very scary times because the very scary, scary individuals. So more to this if you want to. Like I said, the Judging Freedom podcast, ex-CIA analyst Larry Johnson is saying it, and Max Dashow and others are confirming this.
President Trump says a potential deal with Iran would be, quote, far better than former President Obama's 2015 agreement. But there's a catch. He needs to get Tehran back to the negotiating table. Today, in an interview with Bloomberg, Trump said it's highly unlikely that he would extend the truce with Iran before it expires on Wednesday evening. Sources tell CNN Vice President J.D. Vance is set to travel to Pakistan for a second round of peace talks, but Tehran says it has no plans to participate.
He just sending J.D. Vance all over. He done told my man to go to the Middle Eastern, man. Ain't no way you been causing all this ruckus and all this crazy stuff, and you want me to go see the ops. You want me to go to Pakistan, see the ops, and you chill back here in the United States where they can't even mess with you with, but I got to go and have these peace talks. You crazy, but J.D. Vance, you got to do what your man say. So, hey, you see what happened to the last vice president that was with Trump? He quit on his last day. I quit. He got the hell out of there.
Is vowing retaliation after American forces fired on and seized an Iranian-flagged cargo ship known as the Tuska after it tried to bypass the U.S. blockade. U.S. Central Command sharing this video you see here of yesterday's operation, which shows U.S. Marines on helicopters rappelling down and boarding the ship. CNN's Nick Robertson is live for us from Islamabad in Pakistan. Nick, it is unclear if this new round of talks is actually even going to happen. What are you hearing?
Yeah, I think at the moment the Iranians to commit to come to the table is going to be about as big an effort as it will be then they get to the table to try to bring agreement around the table. I think there's real hope, certainly from the mediators, from Pakistan's perspective. If they can get Iran to the table, J.D. Vance, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, when they arrive in Pakistan, if they get to the table, then the mediators really feel that there is a deal that can be done. So I think in that context, there's some positivity. In the background, of course, there is diplomacy going on, trying to reach out to the Iranians, trying to convince them to come. Conversations, obviously, between Pakistani and U.S. officials at various different levels. But at the moment, the issue for the Iranians really is the Strait of Hormuz. There were last week when Pakistan's sort of top negotiator, who was also in the country, Field Marshal Asim Munir, was in Tehran. There was a real sort of series of confidence-building measures going on. You had the ceasefire in Lebanon. You had the Iranians opening up the Strait of Hormuz. They got disappointed when President Trump decided to keep the U.S. closure of the Strait of Hormuz in place. The Iranians fired on ships, the United States over.
For them to call a ceasefire, and then soon they do the ceasefire, my man Trump come right in, blockade. You ain't getting no money. Like, that's snaked out. How do that's supposed to be a ceasefire when you got your people basically blocking the door from anybody entering or exiting? That, when he did that, I'm like, damn, he done tricked these people. He playing real chess with their ass, man. And these people, they kind of keeping up, but they can't. We don't see what's the next move.
Fired on, as you were mentioning, on that Iranian tanker. That's sort of given the hardliners in Iran over a much sort of stronger messaging than they had. The lead negotiator, who's the speaker, he's seen a key interlocutor, if he can and does come to Pakistan, that he can sit at the table and with sort of authority have that serious negotiation. At the moment, everyone here is waiting for the Iranians to signal they're coming. You know, it could come late tonight, morning. But obviously, if it doesn't come sort of by the middle of the day or early afternoon local time tomorrow, then therefore, what would be the point of J.D. Vance getting on a plane and coming here? So I think that's the sort of time frame we're looking into here. Of course, this city's ready, security is in place, hotels are ready, vacated, ready for the two to come in, all sorted, super secure around there. I was down there in that area today. So it's all set and ready to go. It's waiting on the Iranians, and can they be convinced to come? I think the hope is the answer is yes, but until they sign on, it's still a guess.
Yeah, certainly is. Nick Robertson, thank you for the latest. Omar?
Let's talk about this more with retired.
The Guardian is reporting that we might use a nuke on Iran. What? Why would we do that? Because they say we don't, the Iranians might develop a nuke at a later time. And nukes are so dangerous, we have to make sure to prevent anyone from using it. That's why we're using it.
That's the most craziest stuff I've heard. We want them, prevent them from getting it, so we gonna use it on them. Now, the reason Iran shouldn't get a bomb far as a nuke like that is because I think that they think that they are. Them boys, the whole time, imagine you get bullied, right? And you could never get a gun or no weapon to, defend yourself. And then a bully weapon or almost being able to get a weapon, they don't want you to get that weapon because it's like, you had weapons this whole time, but while you was bullying me, that's what made you stronger than me. But now I got a weapon. You don't want me to get it. Nah, but that's crazy, man. But I guess from an American's point of view, and I don't think that they should drop a nuke on them because I heard, like I say, if they drop a nuke on people, a lot of people gonna die. They gonna take them back to the Stone Age, it's real.
Wait, what? Are you guys insane? And apparently they are insane. So when the White House was asked about it, they say, hey, we're not taking any options off the table. Yeah, you should take that one way off the table. In no sense at all. They're saying, destroying the Fordo facility with bunker busters are going to be very difficult. And so the Israelis, as always, are unsatisfied.
When they dropped them bunker busters with the B-2 planes, I thought that everything was done. Honestly, I thought that we basically did the mission and we got through and we did what we needed to do. But I guess we didn't, so we got to go back in there and cause more havoc, I guess. This shit is crazy.
Satisfied and demand that we do more and we destroy more. So apparently not off the table. That is absolutely insane. Trump has set a deadline of 2 weeks to make this decision on whether he attacks Iran and how he attacks Iran and whether he's going to drag us into Israel's war.
Well, we definitely been dragged into Israel war. I didn't even know that America and Israel had connections like that, to be honest. I just thought that, they was one of our allies. It's damn near like, everything that we do far as war, doing something dumb, we gotta be backed by them. And it's like, damn, do they really mess with us like that, or do they got something over our head to keep on doing this stuff? It's weird, to be honest. It's definitely getting kind of weird, man. But if you stayed this long in the video, thank you for watching, man. It's your boy Schoolie, and to meet again, my friend. I'm out.